Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. Loads of comments already in this morning before we even got started. We've got Mad Monk saying hello to everyone. We've got Rob over there. We've got Anya. We've got One Angry Pagan saying socialist in chat. Yes, comrade. We've also got Master Templar out there and also Danilo. Lofty the Softy is saying morning. Got City Life 2050. We've got Elaine Taylor. We've got Johnny Copperhead. We've got Angela, Houghton125, Vendetta, and Vendetta again. Wait, Graham's on time. Something's fishy. Bit quiet. Is it? Is it a bit quiet? Do I need to turn me mic up then, shall I? Is that better? Can you hear me now? Not popping, am I? Don't like it when I pop. Anyway, morning. Bloody Temu ad, says Lee Corn. Guten Morgen. Now, if anyone wants to try the closed caption feature, that should be working today, and it might come up with some hilarious captions of what it thinks that I'm saying, but I'm not really saying it. So if that's working, that will be a good thing. Anyway, so let me know in the chat. Today, I was going to talk a little bit about Suella Braverman because obviously she's been in the news a bit this week for twice, by the looks of things, breaking the ministerial code twice in 1 week. Twice. Well, we found out about it. One event happened last summer. That was her speeding offence that she asked her civil servants to help her get out of doing a speed awareness course. She had to speak to other people. She had to be in a room with other people. She didn't want to do that. And the other one was to do with Rwanda. Funnily enough, Rwanda. So I made a video last night, and it didn't go out until 5 to midnight or something. That's YouTube's fault more than mine, I swear. In which I listed her 10 crimes. And do you know what? I missed out a load of stuff. I woke up this morning and I realised there was an incident when Clive Lewis of Labour had to interrupt her making a statement because it was to do with her illegal immigration bill. I didn't even talk about that in the video. The fact that that they've made an illegal immigration bill, which says on the front cover of the bill that's going through Parliament that it might not be compatible with the European Convention of Human Rights, which would make it illegal, illegal under international law. She's just the worst. But something has superseded it. And there's all these conspiracy theories flying around about Suella Braverman and the timing of stuff coming out, that they're trying to muscle her out. And then Boris Johnson turns up again. He's over in Texas at the moment, earning millions. While he's supposed to be working for you and me, he still earns £80,000 a year as an MP. A backbench MP, but still an MP nonetheless. And yeah, he's in Texas. What is he doing? It's Prime Minister's Questions today. Why isn't he there? No, he's in Texas making loads of coin. Making loads of money, making loads of greenbacks. Woo! And yeah, I hate him. I absolutely hate him. I hate him with every atom of my body. Anyway, he's about to have a third child with I've forgotten her name. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. Marie Antoinette? Carrie Antoinette. That's it. Carrie. He's about to have a third child with her, which brings up his child total to 8 or 9. We're not sure. We're not sure how many kids this horrible creep has made. And I pointed out on Twitter yesterday, so if anyone follows me on Twitter, it's at Every Country. We'll know. I pointed out that Boris Johnson seems to be the 4 horrible children from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, all smushed together and then pushed inside an ill-fitting suit. He has the arrogance and he has the gluttony of Augustus Gloop. He has the arrogance and wannabe on TV-ness of the attention seeking of Mike TV. He's a spoiled little rich kid like Veruca Salt, and he's an absolute brat narcissist lunatic like Violet Beauregard. He is actually a perfect encapsulation of the 4 horrible children from that book. And he personifies all the worst things about them. Now, this is mad because this story came out yesterday. And I've heard stories about parties at Checkers during lockdown before. I've heard stories about this for the last couple of years. So it's interesting now that it's actually coming out. And what is incredible about this, and I'll come to your comments about it in the moment. Someone says, Houghton says, don't worry, he forgets her name too. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Why would you know? I don't know if I know the name of Rishi Sunak's wife, and I don't think I knew the name of Liz Truss's husband. I just that side of celebrity or politics, whatever. It's their private life. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like knowing the names of people's children. It's just like, why would I know that? Why would I have to know that? Why would it come into anything? But I suppose with Carrie, whatever her surname used to be, Carrie Johnson, it's a bit more pertinent because he did use Carrie as a sort of deflection shield from deflecting criticism by getting her pregnant. And people go, oh, well, she's going to have a baby. Oh, yeah, let's not mention these terrible things that the father of the child has done, these terrible, terrible things. Anyway, what was interesting is last night, this story came out at about 6:30 at night. And at 7 o'clock, there was a show on LBC called Cross Question. And one of the hosts, one of the privately educated hosts of LBC, was on this show as a pundit, I think. I don't think she was being there as a presenter. And that is Rachel Johnson. It's a bit disturbing that about 66% of the presenters on LBC are privately educated. But then again, 100% of our political leaders in this country are privately educated. So, what are you going to do? Well, someone can find out about the Greens for me. I can't get any information about what schools they went to. But anyway. So she says in this interview on Cross Question on LBC last night, she goes, yeah, all the rules were followed when I went to Chequers. And everyone's like, what? What? All the rules were followed when you went to Chequers. Have we got that right? So, you weren't supposed to go to Chequers. That was against the rules at the time. That was why there was a big hoo-ha about Dominic Cummings going on a little trip, going a little jolly on his wife's birthday to Barnard Castle to test his eyesight on his wife's birthday. Because that's the sort of thing you do on your wife's birthday. Is you go, let's take the family out to test my eyes on your birthday. Yeah. We weren't supposed to go anywhere. I don't know if she's just as stupid as her brother or she's just as arrogant and just doesn't care. But just confessed. Just confessed to a crime on live radio. Yeah! Anyway, but also what's interesting is how this came out. So this is all part of, not Partygate investigation, that's separate. This is about the inquiry into COVID and the government's response to COVID. And as part of that inquiry, Boris Johnson handed over his diaries to the Cabinet Office to go through and make sure that everything, that they reported everything that happened. And he looked at his diaries and he was like, oh, shit. He's basically meeting up with people in Chequers. He's having people around. He's having parties in Chequers. And he's written about them in his diary and then handed them over to the Cabinet Office, who have a legal obligation to inform the police if they find out that an MP has done anything against the law. And he's like, he's absolutely apoplectic about this. He's like, what? I don't have to do things that are in the law. The law's for the little people. He wrote about it in his diaries. I mean, imagine, do you know what it reminds me of? Kind Hearts and Coronets. If you've ever seen that fantastic old Ealing comedy, it's a black comedy in which there's a guy and he is like 8th in line or 12th in line to this massive fortune. And he decides to kill everybody who is in front of him in the line to inherit this fortune. And all of those people are played, men and women, by Alec Guinness. It's a great movie, but he writes about it all this diary. And that's a big plot point. So you'll have to watch the movie to find out what happens. But seriously, you don't write a confession to committing crimes and hand it over to people who are legally obligated to give it to the police. Unless you're an idiot. And Boris Johnson, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. And he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. He's one of those people who just goes through life flying by the seat of their pants. And you know what? In a way, I can kind of relate to that. I kind of do that. I don't like reading from auto cues. I like making stuff up as I go along. I mean, I might forget stuff like Carrie Simmons. What was her surname? Carrie Fisher? No, I can't remember. I might forget things along the way, but I mean, I prefer that conversational style. But it just doesn't equate to policy and politics and running a country, just flying by the seat of your pants. And the fact that he's so reticent to make a decision, he just doesn't want to make a decision ever. And that, I mean, it comes across to me that Boris Johnson is neurodiverse. And that's probably the reason why he is like he is. There is an argument that he might not be an evil person. Like, I've got no doubt Suella Braverman is. but his awareness of other people's existence and other people's suffering is just lost on him. And I think we all know people who are a bit like that. You could literally be crying your eyes out in front of them and they just don't seem to notice or don't seem to take it in that someone's upset. Maybe you should, I don't know, calm down a little. I don't know. But yeah, he's not someone who should ever be in charge of a country, and certainly not during a pandemic. And the fact that he can't make decisions when he was the prime minister, never made a decision. Don't forget, he never sacked anyone, did he? He just prevaricated. Is that a word? I don't know. Might have just made it up. He didn't do anything. He was just the worst prime minister ever, and he just lied to everyone because he just wanted to be liked. And anyway, it's just more stuff. But again, it gives the right wing gobshites in the media, press, in the Tory party more of an excuse to go, oh, it's a civil service blob, it's a blob, and this childish insults. And like I said in my Cruella Braverman video, we've got these children running the country. They're so childish. And, look, I like a joke as much as the next guy. I've got a bit of a sense of humour to me. But just, you're running a country, you're doing a serious job. I don't want brain surgeons laughing and joking around all the time. I don't want people who are flying the plane going, oh, I wonder what will happen if I do this. Woo! What do I have to do this? Woo! Only 9% in a recent survey of this country, the people in this country, right, think that Brexit is going well. 9%? That is just what? I mean, yeah. But, we had to have it because of reasons. Danilo's gifted 5 Labour social membership. I didn't even know you could do that, Danilo. Thank you very much. That is absolutely brilliant. Her name was Simmons, says Danilo. Yes, I did say that, but then I kind of corrected myself because I wasn't really confident. It all depends what you define evil as, says Johnny Copperhead. You're right. That is a really good point, Johnny, because you've got that banality of evil. Those like faceless bureaucrats that were involved in the Holocaust and they just saw the numbers. They didn't really think about what actually was going on. And it was, the banality of evil, but they are evil people because they'll allow something like that to go on under their watch. As long as they were all right. I'm all right, Jack. And I think that is one of the problems of, the problem. I'm just going to move my mic. Sorry, that makes a noise. One of the problems in modern Britain, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I do believe that there are a lot of people out there who have that I'm all right, Jack NIMBY personality, where if they're doing okay, then what's the problem? There was a guy who rang up LBC last week. I don't know if you heard the clip. I did. And I've forgotten who he rang up, but his attitude was just remarkable. He went, I've just got a pay rise and I'm on holiday in Spain and I've got a BMW that I just bought, a brand new BMW. I'm doing great. And it was like, okay, what's your point? Well, people are saying Brexit's not doing well and I'm doing great. And it's just like, there were other people. What's wrong with you? Other people exist, right? Other people, and some of them aren't doing so well. Yeah, but I am. Yeah, but you're not all the other people. It's like, isn't there a thing with babies where if they can't see you, they don't know if you exist. And then there's a point in their development that they realize that even if you're not in front of them, you still exist. It's like some people never get to that stage. Someone's going to give me the right name for that in the comments in a moment. But yeah, fascinating stuff. Anyway, just onto the comments again. Thank you so much. We got one angry pagan. How goes the developing Tory civil war front? Well, my friend. The Tory civil war. Rishi Sunak seems to be missing in action. I can't see any comments that he's made in any of the front pages. He's not commented on anything, and he's been doing that thing of. This is a weird one because normally they say we're going to wait for the results of the inquiry into XYZ, but Rishi Sunak's not actually announced an inquiry, which is kind of weird. I mean, it's all a bit odd. It's all a bit odd. But Dominic Raab has jumped. He said he's not going to stand for re-election. So that's 10% of the Tory MPs. That's not including actually the Tory MPs that have lost the whip. People like who's that terrible creep? Mancock. Yeah, Matt Hancock. And sorry, spoonerism there. And the other Chris Pincher, and some other horrible people. They're going to be standing down in the next election, and they're not really counted in the Tory standing down because they're now independents. But still, there's a remarkable number of Tory MPs standing down in the next election because they know they're going to get annihilated. But don't rest on our laurels. Don't rest on our laurels. We've got to make sure that they are annihilated, and there's a lot of work to do in that regard. Neil Flood says, please click the like button, peeps. Oh, that's very nice of you. So the people who got gifted Loby social memberships are Yorosh, Lefty Boater, Dim TR, and Peter Jan, and Steve. There you go. You've all got Labour social memberships now. Brilliant. I'll see you on Discord after the show. Lee Corn, good for you in best begrudgery voice. I know. Just like, yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, good for you. Goodbye. Good for you. You could look in the nearest fridge for Sunak. And Calvin Lad says, Calvin Lad 100 says, Pincher by name, etc. Yeah, the thing is that Boris Johnson got kicked out because of Chris Pincher, because he covered up over Chris Pincher's crimes that he committed. And yeah. People go on about Partygate, but actually that's not the thing that sunk him. Unbelievable as that might sound. So it wasn't the fact that he was having parties, bacchanalian parties in number 10, where wine was sprayed up the wall. People were having sex in cupboards. There was allegedly a lot of cocaine swashing about, a suitcase full of wine, broken swings, just generally having a bit of a mashup. And this wasn't just a one-off. This was many times. And don't forget, on Fridays they had like Friday wine time or something at 4:00. So and don't forget, this wasn't necessarily the civil servants running the country. This was the staff at number 10. This was like the press office at number 10. Their job wasn't that demanding. Their job was to create a press release each day. Something that you could now do within a few seconds on ChatGPT. You could just type in, do a press release to make us not sound so bad about this terrible thing that we've done. And it'll go, okay, here you go. And it'll put in all the weasel words. It'll put in all the way that you say things correctly. And that's why I'm not scared of AI. I'm really not. We'll have a discussion about AI another time because we obviously want to slag off the Tory party at the moment because that's the most fun thing to do. But I think that if you're creative, then AI is a brilliant tool. If your job is just making copy, is just making press releases, is just coming up with weasel words to make sure that you're legally sound in what you say, even though you're trying to get away with murder, yeah, you're going to have to find a new job. Oh, my heart bleeds. You see, again, I'm doing that thing now, aren't I? I'm like, well, I'll be all right. You can't get an AI to do this and interact with you in a realistic way. That's not going to be completely uncanny valley. At least another 10 years. I'm going to say 10 years. I've got 10 years of this. Got 10 years of me before I get replaced by a grand bot. One Angry Pagan, £2 super chat. Very much, very, very good. Thank you. Down with the Tories. Down with the right. And a couple of devil's horns there. Yeah, rock on, dude. Down with the right, because the right is wrong. Indeed. They've really done a number on this country, haven't they? They've really, really done a number. And it's remarkable how much people in this country are prepared to put up with. It really is. And it just breaks my heart that they have forced so many people to be under house arrest effectively through their policies. Now, by house arrest, I mean they have a home that they might not be able to leave. They have a home that they might not be able to sell if it's got cladding on it. And the government has refused to fit safe cladding on these places because the government is evil and they'd rather spend £120 million on sending women and children to Rwanda and then bringing over Congolese refugees from Rwanda to live here, an unlimited number. Yeah, great. Okay, so there's people who are trapped in their homes because they can't afford to go anywhere or do anything. They can't afford, there's no bus service to where they live. Everything's too expensive. They're having to choose between heating and eating, and they're living under house arrest. And then you've got people who would like to protest against the government, but they can't because they might get arrested for even thinking about protesting. And if they get arrested, they'll lose their job. If they lose their job, they'll miss a mortgage payment. And if they miss a mortgage payment, there's a good chance that the bank will steal their home from them, even if they've put 100 and 200 and 3. I don't know how much houses are. Well, 500,000 into a house that was worth £550,000, the bank can still say, "Oh, well, you haven't paid off the rest of the money, so we're going to take your whole house off you." Or people who have got dementia, who they're having to pay for carers to come in 4 times a day, and it's costing £1,000 a week. That's £52,000 a year. That's way outside most people's budget, as the average wage in this country is £27,000. People trapped in their homes, looking after people, looking after their parents, looking after their children, trapped in their homes by this government under house arrest. Scared to say boo to a goose. People who are scared to go on strike because, they can't afford to. They literally can't afford to go on strike. And this is happening all over the country, and people are putting up with it. And the idea is that if you go out and you do protest and you do create a stink about what's going on and what this government is doing, and make your feelings known, there's a chance that you will lose everything that you've got. And that fear, that desperation, drives people to not do anything, to not fight against it, which is sad. Oh, Richard Brophy has put, "You've forgotten about James. Is it James Cleverly? Cleverly's private jet being charged at £12,000 per hour." So this is his name, Cleverly. James Cleverly? It is James, isn't it? I can't remember. This is a private jet, and he's charged to the taxpayer, apparently. That's what I heard. You might have heard something else, but yeah. Soft-spoken Graham is hard to hear. Yeah, that's why I shout all the time. What's this? If your job is just photocopying, Chat GPT literally doesn't understand what it's writing about. It's just very good at guessing from a large base of language. Yes, you're actually right. It doesn't, but then you don't have to write copy. That's the thing about copy. I mean, you look at the articles in the Mail; they could be written by Chat GPT. There's no creativity in them at all, and the people writing them are evil. So all you have to do is type into Chat GPT, "Hey, here's what's happened. Can you write a 500-word article about this in the style of the Daily Mail?" And it'll write it for you. There you go. And then they can sack all those Daily Mail journalists whose careers I don't really care about. What can I say? Someone's going to come up with a real good stinger here, like why AI is going to be absolutely awful. But at the moment, it's looking pretty good. I found an old photo of me from 2007, which was, I only had a really, really low quality version of it. And it was one of those where you clicked on it on Facebook and it just came up like a little postage stamp in the middle of the page. And so what I did was I put that through an AI art generator, and it's blown it up to like 5,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels. It looks amazing. It looks so good. It's like, oh my god, that's brilliant. So it's got some good things going on. But we do need to have a discussion about AI. We might have an AI session where we have a little bit of a natter about that. I'm not saying that it's going to be all awesome. I'm not saying it's all going to be terrible. I'm kind of like an in-betweenist, I think. An in-betweener, let's say, on AI. Just to say a big thank you again to One Angry Pagan for a £5 super chat there. Anora Bevan said that we should use Parliament as a sword point to the heart of the ruling class. Did the Tories take that to heart? I wonder. I don't know, but we still have a ruling class. One Angry Pagan, we do, and it's people who went to private school. They are our ruling class. They make up nearly every single prime minister we've ever had. They make up the 66% of the cabinet. They make up the vast proportion of the top jobs in the city, the top paid actors, the top paid elite athletes. Because don't forget, if you're going to get a gold medal in horse riding, dressage, yacht sailing, canoeing, having a very, very fast bike, you've got to have a bit of money behind you in order to get those things. So elite sports tend to be dominated by people who are born rich. And I'm going to make a video. I've been threatening to do this for a while, but I really do believe Brexit was a very successful plot by the ruling class to entrench their power for another generation. at least another generation. They've done this by getting people to vote to destroy their own children's futures and to limit their horizons unless they're rich. So the only people who are going to do well out of Brexit, and it's not surprising that 9% of people think Brexit is going well and 7% of people are privately educated. I think that's a bit close. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to make some kind of ridiculous, correlation equals causation type thing. I just think it's a bit similar. It's a bit who's done well out of Brexit? Who would respond to a thing saying that Brexit has gone well? Well, millionaires, because it has gone well for them. It's gone really, really well for them. Do you know what else went well for them? COVID. Yeah, went absolutely brilliantly for the top 1% or the 0.1%. The billionaires around the world doubled their wealth in that 1.5 years of the COVID pandemic. They doubled their wealth. That's staggering. And also possibly immoral a bit. Immoral. Do you think there should be a limit of like how much money a person's allowed to have? Can we just limit it at 100 million and after that you get taxed at 100%? That's it. You can give it to charity. You can set up businesses with it. That's fine. But you can't have personal wealth of more than 100 million pounds. That's it. That's your maximum. If you want to live in this country, go live in some other country where things might not be as groovy. Although, given what we've done to this place over the last 13 years. Danilo, thank you very much. Another €5 super chat. Very generous this morning. Thank you very much. Chat GDP is scarily good at GPT. It's scarily good at whipping up source code. AI sooner or later will make us old programmer dudes and dudettes obsolete. Well, my partner works in data, and that's an interesting one. But you've got to know what you're doing. Like, I couldn't create a video game using Chat GPT, but someone who knows how to program video games would be able to do that. So it means that instead of the development cycle for an indie computer game taking maybe 2 years, if you just make it in your bedroom, you could do that same thing in 2 days. And that's going to be really cool. And to me, it's kind of like, oh, well, if we teach everyone to read, then if we teach everyone to write, then anyone can write a book. Well, yeah, anyone can write a book. That's true. But most people don't, because it's really hard to write a decent book. And books that are just shelf fillers, that just have the same generic plot, really bad, uninspiring prose, yeah, they're going to fall by the wayside because you're going to get AI generated books. You are, especially like erotic material and things like that. AI can just do it. We don't really need a human behind that. So yeah, instead of one person making one kind of slushy romance erotic novel once or twice a year, they'll be able to pump out hundreds of them. It's just like, yeah. But if someone's got the time and the energy and the willingness to do that, then they can do it. So you'll be able to get much more information. One of the big problems I can foresee, and I don't want to get this whole conversation getting into AI because there's lots to talk about, it's just misinformation. And this is the thing that I really don't like about Chat GPT. So I typed in, who was the first person to go to every country in the world without flying? It said it was Graham Hughes, which is true, it's me. And but then it said that I finished on January the 8th. 2013. I didn't. I'd finished on January the 31st. Well, January the 30th, if you want to be technical, but it's down in the Guinness Book of Records as finishing on January the 31st. And so I corrected it. But it didn't, the way it makes statements, I think that it needs to say sources. So every time ChatGPT says, this is a fact, this is a fact, this is a fact, underneath, I want links to Wikipedia articles, to news articles, to blogs, websites, photographs, whatever, that it is used to come to that bit of information, which we don't get with ChatGPT at the moment, but I'm hoping in the future that will be something that we will have. Right, anyway, so come on, let's get back to slagging off the Tories. Fully with you, Graham. Bevan's dream has been ruined, says one angry pagan. Yes, it has. Because we need social mobility. That's what we need in this country. We need the sort of dark side of the American dream is that it's so stacked against people, but at least it exists as an idea that anyone can make it. Anyone can make it, especially if you're a multi-millionaire when you're born like Trump. But generally speaking, if someone's got a good idea and wants to have a real go at it, they can make that dream come true. And that might have been true in the 1950s and 60s, as long as you were white and male. But more recently, the American dream has died, and Britain never really had that dream. We always seem to have this very stratified social classes, I guess, that I felt in the 90s growing up was a dying ideal. Was this dying ideal that we had the ruling class, the neo aristocracy or the aristocracy. Then you had sort of two parts of the middle class. You had the ones who were born middle class, and then you had the working class people who had done well, and then you had the working class who were doing the more the physical labor and those kind of jobs and living in possibly social housing, etc. That all that's crumbled apart. Sorry, I felt like that was the situation back in the 1990s, and that we were moving towards more and more of a state, a society that had social mobility, that had really good social mobility, yeah, where you could dust yourself down and get on your feet and really make something of your life. But and I think that was true for maybe the first term or so, or maybe two terms of the last Labour government. But then we had the credit crunch in 2008. Then we had austerity. Then we had Brexit. Then we had COVID. Then we got the invasion of Ukraine. And basically everything has gone back to how it was in the 1950s, which I know a lot of people wanted in this country because they thought the 1950s was great, even though rickets and smallpox was still a thing, because people have short memories. I don't know. The survivors of COVID all say, yeah, I survived it, didn't I? Yeah, because you're the survivors ofs. But yeah, I feel like that hope that we were moving towards a more social mobile society has just crumbled, and the upper class, the ruling class, who have ruled this country for generations, have entrenched their position at least for another generation by us pulling out the EU, and they hated the EU with an absolute passion. Why did they hate the EU so much? Because it had a bit of social mobility behind it. It was a situation where people could do well, even if they didn't come from, particularly prosperous backgrounds. And the way the Tories have ran this place over the last 13 years, or even before then when Thatcher was in charge, it was very much about if you didn't have money when you were born, you were lazy. That's the way they think. That's the way they look at things. Oh, you got no money? Oh, you must be lazy then. It's your fault for being lazy. Stop being so lazy. Anyway, so another super chat there. Thank you from Danilo saying capitalism works like like a lottery. Anyone can win theoretically, but most won't. Yeah, which is why capitalism needs reining in by a healthy dose of socialism and government intervention, and I believe that full-heartedly. And I hate these libertarians who maybe I don't hate libertarians. It's a bit mean on the old libs. But I hate the libertarian idea that we shouldn't have the government interfering in anything. Yeah, it's really easy for rich people to say that, and nearly every single libertarian I've ever met in my entire life, or seen on the telly, or seen on YouTube, has been a millionaire. Of course they want their own private security to look after them. They don't need the police. Of course they want everyone to have private health insurance because they can afford it. They can't understand, they can't comprehend that some people don't. And going back to UBI, Universal Basic Income, I think would change everything and set us back on a track where we do have social mobility. You think of UBI, AI, PR, going back in the EU, all the initials put together, and people would be in a position where they could achieve anything. That they really could, even if you come from a poor background, even if you come from a disadvantaged background. One of the big problems that we have at the moment is that, you might be talented at singing, but unless you're also talented at graphic design and marketing and doing all that kind of stuff, you're not going to get anywhere. Not unless you're rich. And you can pay to hire a studio and get session musicians in and record your album and give it to a record label and go, okay, thank you. They're not interested in going around scouting anymore. They want the final product in their hand. If you can afford to work in London for 2, 3, 4, 5 years as a jobbing actor trying to get a big role, yeah, good luck with that, living in London without a proper job, with maybe doing a part-time job and maybe not turning up all the time because you got to go to auditions, which could be held at any time. Yeah, It's not leveling the playing field, is it? But if we had UBI, then people could dedicate 5 years of their life to becoming an actor or becoming a top musician. They could do that. I don't see why not. If someone wants to know, if someone wants to give me a good argument against UBI, please don't let it begin with the words, we can't afford it. You'd be amazed at what we can afford. When we left the EU, £1 trillion worth of assets also left. Not the EU, the UK, and went to the EU. £1 trillion. And just before I go, and thank you to everyone who's been watching this, you're all absolutely wonderful. Master Templar says, UBI! Yeah, indeed. I'll let you go so you can go listen to James O'Brien. The advert should be finished in a moment. But yeah, a stack of £50 notes to make up £1 million would be 6'6", about the height of a tall man or woman, I guess. A stack of £50 notes of making up £1 billion will be twice the height of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building in the world. It'd be twice the height of that. It'd be about 1.5 kilometers up in the sky. Yeah. A stack of £1 trillion in £50 notes would reach into outer space. In fact, from the ground all the way up, it would be 5 times higher than the International Space Station. Gone. Thanks, Brexit. Now the Irish economy is doing rather well, isn't it? Funny that. It was doing well before Brexit, but it's doing even better now. Anyway, what's this? My shield at your backs, guys. Good words. See you and blessed see good people. I'm trying to say these words. Is a D with a little line through it? Is that TH? Blessed Thor. See good people. Thank you very much, One Angry Bacon. Hope to see you at Glastonbury this summer. Talking about more actors and musicians isn't exactly going to sell it to the majority. The pound saved in bureaucracy and welfare, though. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, I don't think that actors and musicians are going to sell it to the minority, but that's not my point. Maybe I should formulate the way that we talk about this a little bit better. Obviously, I'm just doing this off the cuff, but the point is that children would be able to dream about doing anything with their lives instead of the crushing realization by the time you reach 30 that you're never going to do the thing that you always wanted to do because society won't let you do it. And it's a sad state of affairs. 1 million seconds is 11 and a half days. 1 billion is 32 years and 8 months. 1 trillion is 32,700 years. Indeed. And £1 trillion worth, £1 million, that is £1 million worth of assets were shipped out of the UK and sent off to other destinations around Europe, including Dublin. And yeah, that's what Brexit did to us. So next time someone says, yeah, Brexit was an amazing success, you might want to point that out to them. You might. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back at 12 o'clock for PMQs, which I'm going to be doing a commentary. Hopefully I won't muck it up this time. And if you would like to join me for that, you would be very welcome to. I'm going to head over to the Discord server now. So if you are a YouTube member or a patron, you should be able to have access to the Labour Social Discord server. I'll be on there for the next couple of hours listening to James O'Brien and maybe making some comments during the ads or whatever. So if you want to join me for that, you're very welcome to. And then obviously 12 o'clock. We're doing PMQs, and then tomorrow we're going to have Phil Morehouse back for another morning brew. So lots of stuff to look forward to. So until then, thank you so much for watching. You're all amazing, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.